Good morning, everybody. It's your girl, Miracle Sims, and you're listening to God, Sex, and Love. Your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. It is June the 2nd, 2022, and today the topic is seasonal situations. Happy Friday, y'all. Happy Friday. I hope that you all had a terrific Thursday. Mine was just fine. Man, oh man. Mine felt kind of long yesterday for some reason. I don't know why. I mean, I went into work and did that. There was only a few things that was a little bit different. We had like a 10 o'clock meeting that I think is going to start getting incorporated into my shift. So that was one thing that was a little bit different. I didn't have NJ with me, so that was another thing as well. But he came back last night or whatever, or yesterday evening and whatnot. And now I didn't bring lunch with me yesterday, so I don't know if that was part of it as well. Because I kind of just worked straight through. But then next thing I know, as I was getting ready to leave, somebody had brought some pizza to the church and they had offered me some. So I don't know if the Lord was just, looking out for me or whatever the case is. But to God be the glory for all the blessings. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, by the time I came back home, hubby was like finalizing some of the clothes and whatnot that we was going through with washing and whatnot, and we were sorting out, the different sizes that NJ has grown out of and stuff. And here we are with like mountains of clothes, just like all of our stuff, but mostly his. So listen, the kid is blessed. And I know even we were sitting there talking yesterday, we were like, we didn't really buy any of these clothes. Like, I mean, I might have bought him a couple of things since he's been born that I wanted him to have. But outside of that, like, he has just been so totally blessed. The families, friends, everybody's just kind of, we've been passing clothes along as well. And people have passed things to us and we pass it along and things like that. And so super blessed, man, super blessed and everything. So that's what yesterday looked like, and everything. He came home and seemed surprised to see his room, even though I feel like every time he goes somewhere and comes back, I be trying to tackle his room and stuff, and so he knows. But I was trying to have conversations with him yesterday, like, look, it took mommy a long time to get your room together, and I want you to keep it like this, and having all the conversations and whatnot. So we'll see how it go. I noticed that he did sleep in his bed a little bit better than usual, because usually he'll be like just with this little blanket and stuff like that. But he actually slept under a comforter yesterday and all of that. So progress, I think. And his room was still clean last night when I peeked in on him and whatnot. So to God be the glory. You know what I'm saying? We gotta appreciate all the little things around here. But yeah, so let's get into this conversation, y'all, about seasonal situations. I think I woke up to the sound of my alarm this morning around 4. I think I just had a lot on my mind this morning for some reason. Just a lot in general. I mean, well, first of all, like, it's no surprise that, again, I told you all, ever since 2020, my eyes and ears have been just so sensitive and open to like so many different things in regards to like things that may be going on behind the scenes that we just may not be paying attention to, as well as like this whole stuff about what's going on in Hollywood and just all this different stuff, y'all. And and not to say that my mind was engulfed in that this morning, but I don't know what it was that made, like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I don't know if my heart or spirit was feeling heavy, or I'm not sure exactly like what it was in particular. But I guess one of the things that crossed my mind this morning is just the uncertainty, not just of life, but like, different things. Like, for example, Again, this should be no surprise. I feel like I'm saying this all the time, but here it is again, y'all. Y'all know that, like, in this season of my life, the past few years, between 2019 and now, I feel like this is the most content I've ever been in life. About just about every aspect of my life. I'm so content where it's like, if nothing changes and I continue to go on this path that I'm on, I think I would be fine. You know what I mean? Like, I think I'm at peace with, again, doing this whole thing. Keep the talk show going, keep the um keep the daily inspiration going, keep working at the church, keep creating whatever that I desire to create and things like that. If I could continue to do all of this, I'm good, right? But I think there's something, at least over the past few months, where it's like, in the back of my mind, I don't know if it's like it's maybe a reminder for me to keep my heart and mind open in regards to change. Because I told you all a few months ago, for example, my husband, he is embarking on a new journey into a new career. He's trying to get into the software development field and everything like that. And, he got his degree, with the boot camps, different things like that. And he's, basically waiting for the right opportunity. And he's open to opportunities that may take us out of the state that we're in, and things like that. And for the most part, I've always been open to that mentally. But I don't know, it's something about, I think, me being at the church and all that type of stuff that has me kind of like hesitant now, because I feel like, yeah, there are certain roots that are being, planted and established right now in this season with me, where it's like, well, for the first time, I'm like, do I want to move in a different state? You know what I mean? Like, and things like that. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if anybody else has been there. And then on one hand, I'm like, well, Lord, why would you place me here? And in this firm foundation, and then uproot me and things like that. But then again, I think I probably felt a similar way back when I was in Florida, right? you know, I was established at a church there. I had the steady job. I had my own place, all these different things. But obviously I had dreams and goals, and, I desired to be married and all these different things. And the Lord, uprooted me from Florida, sent me back to Georgia. And here I am. And so, and again, I see clearly now why that was and why those things happened. And so even though it didn't feel good in those moments back then, now I can appreciate all of it. So who's to say that it won't be the same? You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, well, maybe the Lord is established something for this particular season, and then maybe it's going to be something or looking different in another, the next season or whatever the case is. And it don't even have to be as big as a move, right? It could even be this whole thing with people, because I told y'all, right? There's been some changes behind the scenes or whatever. And on one hand, it's like, well, Lord, why did this happen? Because on one hand, I was at peace with the partnerships and all the different things that was in place. But on the flip side, I'm like, well, Lord, I can see a bigger picture. Maybe some things needed to be different or whatever the case is, or you removed some people or whatever you did, for it to be, you know, again, a seasonal situation. Maybe I was putting in my head the partnerships, for example, was going to be long term, but God saw them as seasonal, or not just that, but I mean, everybody has their own, again, journeys and whatnot to go through. So again, maybe my time was seasonal with the different partnerships and things like that. And so it's just one of those things where it's like, it's hard to change when you don't want to change. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's hard to accept changes when, again, you don't want changes. Like, again, if you're content and you're happy and things like that, I'm definitely in a place where I'm like, anything uprooting my peace right now, I ain't with, I don't want. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just rather continue to be at peace. Now, is that wishful thinking to just think you're going to always be at peace? Probably, maybe that's those fairy tales and fantasies that we all I think, have in one way or another. And so I would say that that was pretty much the inspiration for the topic today, right? And so as I was seeking the Lord about this, because I'm like, well, Lord, because on one hand, like one of the first phrases that came into my heart and mind was ball of confusion. Y'all know that song, uh, Temptations and everything like that, the ball of confusion. Because on one hand, it is a confusing place to be where you're like, well, Lord, I don't understand why this and that. Like, so then, okay, you bring me in a marriage, but then you got my husband over here and then me over there. And you know what I mean? Like, whatever, and it's like, or whatever your situation may be, whatever your confusing state might be. But yeah, just all these different things on my heart and mind this morning. So that was one of the first phrases that came into my heart and mind, ball of confusion. And I started looking up verses centered around that, and it wasn't resonating. I was just like, okay. And then maybe I can't remember what I looked up after that, but at some point I just went to godquestions.org, y'all. I went to godquestions.org, and I think I started to put in questions about like confusion and things like that. And ultimately, I read a couple of articles that brought my heart and mind at peace. It gave me a little bit of peace to read those articles. I'll mention them in a minute. And then after that, I started to this idea again about seasons and seasonal situations, whatnot came into my heart and mind. And as I looked that up at openbible.info, I think I looked up seasonal situations. And then that's where I came across all these verses that I'm going to get ready to share right now. All right, so let's get into it, y'all. Let's get into it. So 1 Thessalonians 5:1, it says, now concerning the times and the seasons, brothers, you have no need to have anything written for you. Listen, the Bible can be very like blunt, abrupt, straight to the point and everything like that every now and then. As much as there's like imagery and all of this in the Bible, like there are some things where it's just like cut and dry, and I feel like this is one of those moments where it's like, look, when it comes to the times and seasons, it ain't for you to know. That's pretty much what I'm receiving there. It says there's no need to have nothing written to you about that. At the end of the day, again, when I read those different articles, let me go ahead and mention them now. They are in the Go Deeper section, but by all means, it's at gotquestions.org. The first one I ended up reading was, how should we live our lives when we don't know what tomorrow will bring? And then the second article I read was, how can I overcome resistance to change? Both of those set my heart and mind at ease. And it just reminded me to be humble, right? To humble myself to the Lord and his will and his way and what he wants to do and things like that. Again, I may not fully understand all the things. Back in the day, I would get frustrated about it. And now I told y'all what I would do. I would look up to the Lord. I would be in my apartment looking up to the Lord, like, can you let me in on anything? Can you give me a heads up? Can you, asking all the questions, and in my heart and mind, I felt like I received confirmation at that time that no, the answer is no. and I can laugh now about it, but it, definitely frustrating in the midst of situations and stuff where you like, but again, it says it just plainly, you have no need to have anything written to you. Again, some things, God will reveal in his time if he wants to. And, you can seek him about it. You can get wisdom and everything like that. And then he'll ultimately bring you the peace, as he did with me this morning. But do I still know what's going to happen tomorrow? Do I know what's going to happen with, me as my husband embark on his dream or whatnot? Like, what's going to happen to me in my dream? I have no clue, right? But at the end of the day, I'm at peace with knowing that, the things that God is doing will be good. And like the word says, all things work together for the good of those that love God and things like that. And so, just a nice little reminder. It might be some Pope. We might be starting off the gate with Pope, but just a little reminder for all of us today. Look, and to continue, let's go to Acts 1:7. It says, he said to them, it is not for you to know times or seasons that the Father has fixed by his own authority. So put them two together, y'all. Listen, I'm gonna say them again. It say, now concerning the times and seasons, brother, you have no need to have anything written to you. He said to them, it is not for you to know times or seasons that the Father has fixed by his own authority. It's by his authority at the end of the day. And even though it's coming very like tongue in cheek and very like matter of factly, or however you guys want to like think about this coming at us right now, even me, right? It's a humbling thing to know that at the end of the day, it's like, okay, you're seeking wisdom, that's fine. You know, come to me with your questions. I will give you peace, I will give you rest and all that. But when it comes to specific answers about whatever you asking, it may not be the time or season for you to know. And that's okay. We got to be okay with that. You know, that's what I'm receiving at the end of the day when it comes to those first two verses. So then let's go to Daniel 2:21. It says, he changes times and seasons. He removes kings and set up kings. He gives wisdom to the wise and knowledge to those who have understanding. So again, just a nice reminder that it is all up to God and his will. It's in his authority. He does the things. You know, we may not always understand it. Again, if I go back to the cultivation period, me in Florida, I had no clue. I was like, Lord, why are we leaving Florida? I am at peace here. You know, I am, you know, like they say, living my best life. I felt like at that time, you know, there was only, like I said, a few things that I felt like wasn't established in. I wasn't, you know, I was in the beginning stages of starting a business. So I wanted to have my own business endeavors. And then I wanted to have a relationship and love and marriage and all that type of stuff. So those are the only two things that I felt like at that time that I wasn't fully at peace with, or that wasn't established in that season of my life. And so, you know, then I'm like, again, I jokingly say that I feel like I left Florida kicking and screaming in ways, because it was like, why? You know what I mean? But then on the flip side, moving here to Georgia, like one of the first things I did was to establish my business, you know? And then after that, you know, ultimately a few years after that, you know, I meet my husband, and, you know, and so there's these different things, again, my prayers, the things that I was praying for back then, and kicking and screaming Florida, you know, like, oh, well, you know, what's going on, Lord? And then I get here, and then here's, you know, manifestations, I guess you would say, of my prayers and dreams and all that. And, you know, hey, now I'm in a situation where I'm like content about everything, really. And I would say just about everything. But yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm content about everything in my life at this moment. But who's to say again that there aren't some changes to take place? And so again, I had to be okay with that. I had to, you know that again, at the end of the day, that God's plan is better than my own. His plan is for the good, and his will and his good overall. You know, and that's okay. And who knows how it's going to all work out, you know, and everything like that. But I just thank God for the peace in spite of, right? So let's keep going, y'all. I have another verse here. It's Ecclesiastes 3:1. It says, for everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven. You know, what I was receiving overall this morning as I was like seeking, I guess, more wisdom about this whole idea of changes and seasonal situations and things like that, was that, well, one, to understand that I guess everything has a season, you know, and that nothing is quote unquote permanent or whatever when it comes to us. But there is one thing, and it's in the Bible. It's in the Go Deeper section or whatnot. I didn't write the verse down, but the one thing that does not change is Jesus, y'all. He is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And so because of that, we can trust him. We can trust him with our life. We can trust him and his plan and everything like that. And so I hope that this encourages you and inspires you, y'all, because that is the juice this morning. There's plenty of verses in the Go Deeper section for you all to, go deeper with this idea, especially if you're in the midst of changes, right? If you're in the midst of, if you're in a ball of confusion and you're like, Lord, I don't understand what's going on. Why did this thing have to be seasonal? Whatever you may be feeling, I hope that this encourages you and inspires you, y'all. Like I said, I was encouraged and inspired heavily by those 2 articles I mentioned to you all earlier that was on gotquestions.org. Again, the 2 titles are How Can I Overcome Resistance to Change? And then the second one was How Should We Live Our Lives When We Don't Know What Tomorrow Will Bring? So friends, like I said, I hope that you guys check those things out and that you are encouraged and inspired, because that is the juice. But the Bible verse of today is Colossians 3:1. It says, if ye then be risen with Christ, seek those things which are above, where Christ sitteth on the right hand of God. Friends, I hope you all enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspirational juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Just a reminder, today is Friday, so we have a new episode of the GSL Talk Show coming out at 7 p.m. tonight. We have Miss C.K. Collins. I think that was her last name. Miss C.K. Collins tonight, y'all. Amazing lady and author and everything like that, sharing with us. So I hope that you guys, check out the episode tonight. If you don't get a chance to check it out tonight, you should be able to see it at godsexandlove.com as our featured video over the next week. But yeah, thank you so much for listening, and I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow with the Lord's will. Bye-bye. There you go, Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, anybody listening to the sound of my voice. I hope that you all are encouraged and inspired. Thank you so much again for listening, watching, subscribing, and sharing all those wonderful things. Yes, we are trying to reach those goals here on the GSL platform. But at the same time, I'm like, well, Lord, your will, your way. I'm not too worried about it or nothing. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to see what will get established or what more is going to happen and whatnot. But once you reach certain goals and stuff, but on the flip side, like, hey, I'm just excited overall. I feel like there's a lot of things that are on the horizon. I need today. I was supposed to do an episode of GSL, but my guest canceled. So I need to spend today working on my show. The show that's in a few weeks. I need to finalize the details and whatnot. So that's one thing that needs to get done today. Aside of that, no plans per se. I need to make a call later on as well. I got to look into what's going on with the wine website, y'all. It might not be working at the moment. But anyway, so that's another thing. Shout out to my dream team, man. Shout out to the international dream team, specifically Miss Elizabeth and brother Sammy. Both of them are, intricate parts of the dream team, and they are making things happen. Shout out to Arsal as well. He's, holding it down because we got, books and whatnot. Hopefully we'll be finalizing the book client's book and then working on my next one and whatnot. So that's something to be on the lookout for, y'all. Coming soon and everything. So it's an exciting time. Like I said, on one hand, if you allow yourself to be bogged down by thoughts and ideas and things, then it's like, because again, like I said, anything coming from my peace right now, I'm like, and I'm so at peace with where I'm at, where I'm like, I really wouldn't want many changes right now. But on the flip side, I'm like, we'll see, what the Lord is going to do. I'm not going to worry one way or another. We'll just take things as they come, take it all day by day until we find out more information or whatever the case is about, whatever's going to go on with my husband and next steps regarding that. I'm just going to continue to do what the Lord has me doing, and then we'll just go from there. That's all we can do. And at the end of the day, I know that all things work together for the good. And I'm more at peace with that now than I was this morning. So to God be the glory. I hope again that these things encourage you and inspire you. And yeah, I look forward to talking to y'all tomorrow if the Lord's will. Bye.